this one should be Fnatic's all day long. But Des, as I love to say, Siege is not a game played on paper. We're going to be heading into the server, into the map, into Chalet, and we never know what T1 are going to bring. They are this unknown quantity at the minute with all the changes that we've seen. Who knows? Maybe they come in and they hit the ground running and Fnatic have another difficult start. You know, they're running out of stages, Des, whereby we can find a reason for Fnatic not getting those wins.
I've got to talk about this real quickly coming in, by the way. These two bans, for me, massive. The Zofia out of Fnatic, I think, is because we're seeing an increasing number of teams, especially, if not exclusively, in APAC, bringing along the Finca. Now, think about the recent change to Zofia. Of course, the mad recoil increase. What does Finca bring with that juice? A little bit of extra HP, plus the recoil reduction, the ADS speed, for example. There's a lot to be excited about there. And I'm wondering if that's just trying to lean into, let's stifle that sort of setup. And the Flores, we saw the impact of that in the previous game. Both teams using it at some point in their attacking lineups makes total sense to me. So a little bit of difference in the attacking bans. He's quite excited about that.
Yeah, I think, you know, you could have touched on an interesting point there, as you say, with it being Fnatic that have taken the Zofia out. I wouldn't expect it to really be targeted against anybody on T1 because there's been such wholesale changes on there that we don't really know what to target against them necessarily. So it's not like anybody's been out. And I mean, you know, we know that 11's good, but we know that 11's going to just bring anybody he wants and gets kills. You know, Fnatic need to shut down the man, not the operator, in the terms of 11. But we are heading into it, Des. First game of Stage 3. It's going to be APAC North for us, and it's going to be T1 versus Fnatic. Round 1 is going to see us heading up to the top floor of Chalet. It's going to be Master Bedroom to kick things off. So I would imagine we're going to see plenty of action in and around that library and mezzanine side of the map.
I'm really curious to see, above all else, now that Alfama is back in, if he has caught the bug going around where everyone seems to be running the FMG on the smoke. So using it as more of a perimeter player than strictly an anchor. We've seen Citizen doing it. Leon's done it. We had a couple of players at the Mexican Major doing exactly the same thing, but no, is running the shotgun. He's an OG ace. He'll stick to playing on the SMG all day long.
Oh, that's it. There's no messing about on the smoke here. Alfama wants to get it locked down inside. He knows exactly the game that he is going to play. And if we think back to Stage 1, Des, if you recall, we had some big performances out of Alfama on the smoke. I'm thinking particularly you'll remember the game on Oregon where he was just absolutely decimating from behind the deployable shield with the shotgun in towards games. He was just an absolute nightmare there.
It's him with shotguns, I think, in general. I remember on Cafe when he was holding White Stairs and 2 or 3 players tried to fight him and he killed all 3, and I was like, someone please stop this man. He is the region shotgun hero, so keep a very close eye on him, especially given that he's now hunkered himself down inside a bathroom. He's got himself a shield, set up 2 ADSs in there. He is going to be really hard to move unless T1 can coordinate well to remove him. The nice thing being, of course, they have got 4 frags on side. They have got the Capital. Lots of tools here with that one my band away that is going to make it very terrifying to be a static player, which you often can be on something like the smoke.
Fancy heading straight down into that big garage to begin with then. He's going to get himself up on top of the car. Nice little trick that you can try out in rank there. If you get yourself climbed up close enough to the ceiling, Sledge can work in both directions. I know that we often talk about that being one of Buck's big strengths, and of course he can do it from anywhere, but in select locations it is possible for the Sledge as well. So for the time being, Fancy's just going to watch over those solarium stairs. He can start dumping the nades in as well, putting a bit of pressure on Trophy, like what I'm seeing from T1.
I like the idea, but they haven't droned to know if anyone's there or not. They've got a player holding from far. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can look towards half wall from the Ash. They've got the Sledge playing below. They had a couple of players playing on windows. That would be amazing at pinching someone if anyone was actually sat on those stairs, but no one's there. The whole room is empty. And if they'd drone and seen the shield inside a bathroom, they probably would have known. Chances are they want to play a bit more defensive here. They don't want to get isolated. That's a great C4 coming out from Mentalist as well. That's your first blood being drawn onto 11, the key player to bring down.
Doesn't get any better than that for Fnatic at the halfway mark, coming out and making maximum use of that utility, shutting down the man with the Nitro. That's the Iana gone, and a couple of nades along with her as well. So burning utility as well as lives here, Fnatic. So coming in now, we've got Fancy just playing on the double window, trying to hold an angle, trying to find anything he can. But right now, Fnatic are doing a very good job of keeping themselves out of those lines of sight. We've got Crossfires established by a T1, but I'm still concerned about time here, Des. We've got 2 players out on those Solarium windows, Capitao included, and there's not been a huge impact yet. Now, here we go. This is the moment. In behind the smoke grenade. Arakaze gets the kill onto Styx. 3 versus 3 though, as kills raining on either side. Alphama taken down on the smoke. That could be a big one. Just removing some of that control from Fnatic Mentalist though. He manages to find Arakaze and get him shut down. That now leaves us 3 versus 2 coming into the final 30.
Yeah, they pushed and got the control they wanted. Good smoke coming onto the wall, but unfortunately, Fnatic have just held a little bit too firm. Crazy Boy finding one back isn't really going to be enough to close the round out, I don't think. As it stands, I don't see in 15 seconds him pulling off a 1 versus 2 here. Fnatic have been really good in this defense, been not aggressive, but enough that they can constantly keep T1 in check, and it looks like that's going to be the way all the way through to the finish. Tries him out for a plant. Again, shouldn't be able to close this one out.
I wouldn't expect so. Fnatic playing this pretty smartly. They're going to allow the plant to actually go down, but you can see exactly why they've done it, Des. Mentalist, he's got this one on lock. He knows exactly what's going on. Him and Mag, they've got the crossfire. They know that the man is going absolutely nowhere after that plant goes down. Given, you know, previous performances, we've spoken about Crazy Boy's stats previous. You know, is he the man that you expect to come in and get a 1v2 clutch in that situation when he's got to get a plant down as well? Probably not. So Fnatic happy to let the clock tick down, just burn that away and close out the round. A good start from Fnatic there, I thought. They had a lot of control in the side. They always seemed to know what was going on. But T1 did manage to drive a little bit of a wedge into that defence at times and just keep themselves competitive at least. So a little bit of a glimmer of hope for any T1 fans, I think.
T1 look like an angry mob that aren't quite sure what they're angry at is the best way I can describe it. Good energy, good aggression, everyone's scared of them, but it's not going in the right direction, so ultimately they're a little bit lifeless. It was one of those ones, again, where you look towards Solar, and I thought their push there was beautiful. I've not really seen a team commit so much to making sure the player that's holding inside of Solar is getting pinched. If there was someone on the stairs, it's like a stalemate in chess. They can't move down the stairs because there's a sledge waiting. They can't push up the stairs because there's someone on window waiting. And equally, you can't stay there, to be fair, because the Capitao will burn you out. If by some miracle you manage to get yourself to half wall, there's an Ashe waiting for you who can see all the way through bathroom into half wall. It was a really good setup, but it was 60 seconds wasted because no one on the side of Fnatic was playing there. So again, good ideas from T1, liked what I saw, but once you lost 11 early in the round and things started to crumble from there, there really was no coming back. However, let's give them a couple more rounds, see how their attacks fare, especially now that we step onto another site. Played much the same way, to be fair as well. Trophy and Dining, Kitchen and Dining played much the same way. Often you'll look towards trying to get vertical control and then work your way down. So an added step here, almost as if you're attacking Reading and Fireplace on Cafe versus Bar and Cocktail.
As you said, we're going to see a very similar battle this time, I would expect, for control over master bedroom particularly. Office can be useful as well, but it generally tends to be master that is largely the focus, getting that hatch open and, like you said, just getting that vertical. Now, 11, just very cautious approach this time, not wanting to lose his life too early in the round. He was, of course, the first kill last time. It wasn't from a peak or anything, it was a nitro out of a window, but still not wanting to give up anything too soon. Now, Arakaze is just on the long angle there, and interestingly, we're going for exactly the same from T1. They want to get themselves into the same place, so they're going to rinse and repeat the same attack. The problem against somebody like Fnatic is that they are an adaptive team. They're going to know what's coming. We've got the mirror of Mag just waiting down there, in and around that trophy area. He's not going to overstay his welcome. He's not going to overextend into trophy and onto those stairs. He's not going to give them an opportunity, but he's in a position to react. And Fnatic reading, I think, very well into what's coming from this attack, but much quicker this time, Des, from T1.
It's better, at least. Yeah, they've wasted, well, not wasted, but spent 60 seconds ensuring they've got this topside control, that they could at least get something inside a trophy. And now, to PJH, the newbie stepping forward, going aggressive, but whisk the gunfight onto Mentalist. You can't be losing those ones, buddy. That one going down is going to sting a little bit. Losing the Capitao, the firepower that it brings, quite literally and metaphorically, is something they will sorely miss when it comes round to the execution.
It's a big loss there, and I think that's a bit of a lesson learnt for PJH, obviously coming into Tier 1 play regularly now with T1 here against Fnatic, and just finding out that you can't always peak a player like Mentalist because he's going to get you, and he certainly did. Crazy Boy Boy, just looking tentatively to try and continue pushing this attack, but it just feels like T1 have stalled out a little bit here. They're not confident going into these gunfights. Fnatic have got their positions held down, but in comes Arakaze through the window, gets himself one, but Mag, Mentalist, 2 kills apiece. It was the Mag and Mentalist round. They lock it down, and that's going to be Fnatic taking round 2 on top of round 1, and they're already starting to get some breathing space.
This is kind of what I expected coming into this game. And I know Jess and Fresh spoke about this a lot on the desk, that, you know, sometimes you've just got to throw the baby out with the bathwater sometimes. And that's what they've done in replacing 3 members of their team. But little bits like that, it's going to shake confidence, because PJH, as we said, really should be winning that. He gets that kill. They have more control coming inside of Office. They can afford to push their way forward and make some magic happen. But unfortunately, as we saw, that one being lost out, the only place they had any kind of in was in Piano. And everyone stepped forward to go, okay, we've got Piano control. We can take gunfights now. And Fnatic win 3 in a row. And it's just one of those that you look at and say, Fnatic didn't even look troubled in that round, to be honest with you. There's maybe one moment of a scare when PJH came in quite aggressively inside of the bedroom. But outside of that, I would wager not troubled at all. T1 really needs to step up here and start winning some of these crucial gunfights if they're going to make any kind of inroads in these rounds.
Mike, for me there, just playing that so smart, showing his experience there. We saw him at the beginning of the round, just in and around Trophy with the mirror, but he wasn't going to make any challenges. I commented on it at the time. He's not overcommitting to that position. He's happy to just feed information and see what's going on. But boy, does he know the right time to strike, and he gets himself in there and picks up 2 big kills just to really push him over the line. Mentalist then, in the chaos that ensues, manages to find the other 2 as well. So coming into round number 3 then, it's been all Fnatic so far really. T1 certainly looking like they've got an idea about what they want to do and how they want to achieve it, but just not being able to deliver on the execution, particularly in the gunfights so far. There's been a few important gunfights that they've just lost out on. If they go the other way, then maybe they can make a little bit more sort of competition within the round. Certainly not a guarantee by any means, but they need to start winning them.
Need to ask questions about 11 as well, and it's very unfair to always pile pressure onto one player, but he was the godlike player for T1. For those of you that watch League of Legends, you'll know Faker. 11 is basically T1's Faker at this point for this team. I tell you what, beautiful. And there's a counter one coming back in as well, so 1-for-1's not the end of the world, but the player I'm talking about here, 11, has now gone down again. On the Iana, maybe you're looking towards that and say, okay, you're one of the entries alongside the Ashe. You don't mind if you lose that quite early on. But he's been the one that's dragged them through some tough rounds. He's been dying early on in every single round so far. They need him alive later on if they're going to have any kind of impact, I feel. I
agree. And the other problem is it's not just about the kills that 11 brings. It's the fact that he's one of these talismanic players, Des. The others are looking towards him. The beat of the team will come from his performances. If he's aggressive and getting kills, everybody will bounce along with him. But when he's getting taken down, it might just sap the energy out a little bit because you're looking towards him for those big moments, but he's not going to be having them because he's dead. So, bit of a problem for T1 to be having a look at. As you say, we can't pile all the pressure on 11. There's 5 on the field and they all need to get the job done, but it's certainly not going to be helping. Now, PJH takes the opportunity to use the smoke of the Capitao to get in and pick up the diffuser. 1 minute 10 left to go, and we find ourselves 4 versus 3 as once again throughout the round Fnatic are just finding those kills and are able to chip away at T1 and just leave them in that man disadvantage, and you just feel like they're not the team to win the rounds from there. If they're going to win rounds, they need to get themselves ahead and stay in front. That's where they're going to have their opportunities, not in a 3 versus 4, 2 versus 4. So this next kill is particularly important.
I mean, looking at T1, they're being mobile, which I'll give to them, right? They're being willing to step up, even though there's no trade play really going on here. They're trying to pinch this player playing inside of Split. In this position, though, I think they're in a place where they might be a bit risky in doing so because they don't know exactly where all these other members of Fnatic are. There's 1 or 2 lurking around downstairs. I think it was Alfama crouch walking his way through Wine that could have a massive impact if they're not careful in the next 10, 15 seconds or so. He's made his way up in towards Trophy side, now pushing his way down south, and there he is striking big. Ignored the whole round, and now they're going to have to scramble. They do deal with him and bring in 1 back ace, but it's 10 seconds on the clock.
They're playing into a very difficult situation now as well. The setup here for this Fnatic, look, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 for Mag and Mentalist there. It's you're peeling away layers of an onion when you're playing against the defensive setup in Siege, and it's taken T1 too long, and they've lost too many men in getting and dealing with those outer layers. You've still got that solid core of Mag and Mentalist to go up against, and they are locked into positions in which they are comfortable. They've got the reinforcements, they've got the lines of sight. They're not being disrupted, Des. They're playing, if you notice, in exactly the same positions that they are towards the beginning of the round. And naturally, players set themselves up where they are most comfortable. If you force them out of that, that's when they're on the back foot. That's when they've got to scramble and do something different. But Mag and Mentalist, they're not having to do anything different. They're just holding the lines of sight that they go in there planning to hold. And I tell you what, players like Mag and Mentalist holding lines of sight that they want to hold, forget about it. You are not going to win those gunfights, especially when you've got 10 seconds to get into sight. So a bit more disruption required from T1 here. Getting in there, using your nades. We've got the Lion that's just going to allow them now to maybe outmaneuver Fnatic a little bit. Maybe just put them under that pressure that we haven't seen so far.
Yeah, I think the Lion's a really important one because they have been hit by these flankers a couple of times now, or just by players they don't know are in particular rooms when it comes to their actual push stepping forwards. It's a lack of information. We spoke about the drone game in the previous round. Lion here is kind of a, I don't want to say a permanent solution. I mean, obviously not, you bring it in one round, but it's kind of a band-aid over a wound here. They are really struggling against the likes of Alfama, getting out around the map and causing them trouble. This site, I think, is the best one they're going to have any attempt at getting a win on as well. Playing upstairs again in Master Bedroom, now that we've had Fnatic complete the full 3-site rotation, winning all 3 of them. I want to see them go for the same solo take again, but this time think about that push a little bit more. Don't get yourself tagged out so easily. Take more control, open up more angles, for example, rather than focusing all of your resources inside a Solar. That, to me, is going to be the key to getting this round opened up and find themselves a way through to the win.
I'm conscious as well, after the fantastic performance of the APAC teams that we saw at the Mexico Major, that we might well have quite a few new viewers on board with us. So if you are, welcome. I hope you're enjoying the stream. We'll try and cover off some of the things that you might not quite understand as well. We've got the Twitch drone just jumping around. New ability.
It makes me so happy.
New ability, yeah. Being able to jump.
Look, Twitch main, I'm in love. Absolutely love the laser. You feel like you're firing like a laser cannon at someone as well, not some like piddly bit of string to try and blast them out.
Oh, no, it's serious now. It's packing serious firepower. The point I was coming into was the site rotation, very briefly. Of course, once you win on a site as a defender, you have to play 2 rounds elsewhere. So that's why Fnatic are not just doubling down and keep going through the same site. So they win one, they have to go somewhere else for 2 rounds. So when we talk about this 3-site rotation, it means basically they've won the first site, they've won the next 2 rounds after that, so they're able to return to that first site. And that's generally what teams want to do. They want to cycle their 3 favourite sites. Now, opening kill comes in for PJH, getting the onto Tex. That's not a bad kill to pick up at all. The Doc going along with some of those stim pistols. Now, 4 versus 3. T1 have got an opportunity.
I mean, Styx had a golden opportunity to kill Crazy Boys, jumped in the window, but looked away at the exact second he vaulted in. That's one of the ones that you look back on later and go, oh, man, how did I manage to miss that one? It'll be a real kicker. But hey, here in the 3 versus 4, that could be the difference between victory and defeat for T1 in this round. Looking now how things are shaping up, you've got another one running around in Narnia, down in basement, looking to go for the rotate back to site. I imagine that might be Alfama doing so. Indeed it is. Man doesn't like to sit still, Ace. Even when he's playing mirrors and smokes, he'll be off around the map causing absolute chaos.
He'll certainly try. He's taking a lot of damage, though, so he's going to have to be careful about any challenges that he takes. Now, he does get himself back into his initial position, so just remember that conversation that I had about disruption. We've got Mentalist who hasn't been moved. We've got Alfama that's been able to play back into his original position. Fnatic are going to be awfully comfortable here. This is their setup. 20 seconds left to go. Now, T1 have had all the time in the world to get this diffuser down. They've got the wall open, they've got every opportunity to do it, but Alfama from that initial location is able to put the smoke canisters in. Mentalist not being moved, manages to find a kill. It's all down to Alfama here. There we go, in comes Stigs. Great play from Fnatic, Des. They've just allowed T1 that time and space to get in and get the diffuser down, but as I said, it didn't matter once again, because Mentalist, Alfama particularly, were in the positions that they were comfortable with, and those positions are picked to deal with situations like that. That's why you're playing there, because you're looking to deal with that execution, with that plant going down. And Fnatic have just given us an absolute textbook example of how and why that works.
It works so well for. I mean, Styx coming up library should never really happen. This is one of my gripes in the previous game, actually. Cyclops versus Mantis. A few times Mantis got hit on the flank because of a lack of flank drones or any awareness to what was going on in these perimeter rooms to where they were trying to go for an execute. You've seen the same thing there against T1. Alfama coming back from downstairs. You had Styx coming up library. How on earth he's got himself any kind of control of library without any kind of awareness or cover is another thing altogether. And it's just so easy for them to close the round out. And the word that I'd probably use to describe Fnatic so far would be effortless. They don't look stretched. They don't look challenged. They're saying, right, it's another day at the office, boys. We know how this round's going to play out now. We know what we need to do. Just go and do your thing, and I'll see you all in 60 seconds when the round has been won. They're playing incredibly well right now, and I was a bit nervous knowing coming into it, it was Chalet. If you remember way back to the start of last stage, game day one was Fnatic versus Cyclops on this map. And Cyclops won it 8-6. But to my money, it was one of the best games we have seen in APAC North all year so far, sorry. And T1 may have bit off a little bit more they can chew here against one of the stronger teams in APAC North.
I think if I were one of the other teams in APAC North, I'd be a little bit concerned about this, because Fnatic, we sort of feel a bit of a sleeping giant at the minute. We know what the capability is. We know as an organisation, as a roster of players, exactly what they're capable of. But we just haven't seen it delivered for one reason or another. There's been switching on the roster, which certainly isn't going to have helped. And coming into stage 3, we're in the same position again, where Alfama has now come in. And as much as, you know, this may be the roster they want to be looking at, and, you know, they feel like they've got a little bit of sort of solidarity there now, they still need time. They still need time to get running, particularly competitive games. But
no,
if I'm in the rest of the league, I'm looking at it thinking Fnatic have got the perfect opening game against T1 here, where they're just absolutely able to dominate. And that's going to be a big problem for everybody else. Talking about a problem, it looks like we've got... Have we? One in the server. It's just all caught up. We've got
observer only. Observer only.
It was just an observer issue, so we will stick with the game. I threw my glasses on, thinking we were going to be coming back, but we're not. It's still 5 versus 4. Arakaze managing to get that opening kill to kick things off against Styx. But yeah, the point I was making, Des, if I'm everybody else in APAC North, I'm thinking, oh dear. T1 is a perfect opening game for Fnatic. They've got the new roster, quote unquote new. I know, you know, it's really just a rotation, but what a great first game for them at this rate, to come out and just get, you know, winning's a habit. Come out and get that first win, just settle everybody down. Right, yeah, we are comfortable as a roster. We can do this. Look, we've just absolutely rolled T1, and they're going to come in strong to play day 2 at this rate. Everybody in the league needs T1 to come out and make a game of this second half.
Absolutely. I mean, if you know one thing I realised earlier on, you were talking about onions. I really want you to scream at some point, "It's my swamp!" because it'll be phenomenal, mate. So one day, that's what I want you to bring to me. Maybe around my birthday. It's in November.
Maybe a bit of a gift.
Surprise me. Just a little bit. But looking at this round as well, I mean, Arakaze's first kill onto Styx was a blind spray through a wall. It was a very lucky kill to come out. No other real way of painting that. It's one that you'll take every single day of the week, but it doesn't necessarily fill me with confidence that that's going to be enough, because they were in that 4 versus 3 in the prior round and still lost it out. You had Fnatic showing a lot of confidence, and look at that, PJH just lasering everything that stands before, and a bunch of gadgets removed from around Piano. Should make that one a little bit easy now to assault from the south side, looking towards Fanxi, playing on the sledge with those 2 nades in back pocket. Similar story for 11. I do like how we've got everyone focused on the south side here, which should give them more cover, but I keep on speaking about these roamers, Ace. If they do not have a flank drone down, this could prove to be a huge problem.
It will do, and it's Alfama once again, who's just down there, just biding his time, waiting for his opportunity. He doesn't want to leave it too long, though, as it looks like we've got a potential for a plant coming in here. Out go the smokes that are just going to provide the cover that they might need, but no, Crazy Boy goes down to a Mag Nitro. Mag gets a second with the Vector onto Arakaze 11.
Here we go!
Picks up the diffuser, tries to put it down, but no, it's the Mag Show. He manages to get the kill and stop it again, and Fnatic able to keep T1 at bay once again.
Sheesh, Mag, dude. I mean, that C4 from below looked to be the real round ender, but whilst all eyes were turned towards the sailing C4, us included, you've got Mag picking up his third kill of the round off towards the northwest side. This has been kind of a recurring theme, right, where T1 have run the clock down to basically 0 and leave themselves with no room for adaptation. We speak about this for teams like Empire, Virtus Pro, Rogue were quite guilty of it for a time where their execution would always come in the final 10 seconds. You leave yourself no time in case someone gets C4'd or something goes wrong, and that happened just there. Both teams were both inside of the site, or players from both teams were inside of dining, running around, shooting at each other, and the clock ran out and the round ended. It was a little bit chaotic again from T1. You could see the idea, but the same as what we saw when they tried to plant inside of, I think it was round 1 for Crazy Boy planting upstairs. Similar story. They hadn't cleared the perimeter rooms. They hadn't got full flank drone control down, and they get punished for that. Really good play by Fnatic. They're playing on a whole nother level now to what T1 are bringing.
There's a big difference, Des, in planting because you have to versus planting because you're ready to. And I think that's the difference that we're seeing from T1 here. As you say, it's down to where is the clock at? Right, we have to start putting this down, rather than we have the control, we have the angles that we need, we've got everything locked down, let's get that diffuser down. And I think that's the big difference for T1 right now. But what I will say, we have to give that allowance for the fact that there's been big changes in this org. It's, you know, the team has already struggled through the first couple of stages, but they've come in with some changes. We've got to give them time to work with that. We've got to give them time to build. You know, as Fresh and Jess both said, you know, it was the opportunity to say, look, we maybe need to focus on the relegation element. So let's just make the changes now and have the full stage to get them bedded in. The point is, they are getting into that execute position. Everything's not going swimmingly around it. They haven't necessarily got every angle covered. They haven't cleared out underneath. But the point is they get into that position. They get in the breaches open. Now they can build from that and they can think, right, we need to be in that position, but 20 seconds sooner. Right, we've taken a couple of deaths from underneath, so we need to make sure that we've got that roam clear in place. And it's all part of a process. It's not just about today for T1.
Absolutely not. It is a builder, as it will be for a few teams as well. I mean, Cyclops has shown there's clearly a bit of work for them to still do. Mantis, as much as they got away with the win, had a lot of shaky moments they need to be improving as well. So I think for all teams, there'll be a lot of excitement to see how they build up, not just towards relegation, but also let's not forget the November Major and qualification for SI. This is the last chance, well, alongside the Major, I guess, to earn some points to get yourself a spot there. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on that too. Fnatic here, I like what we've seen as a team. All 4 or 5 members all backing away pretty much immediately. Outside of Tex, who's holding himself up towards Bathroom, does get traded out by Arukaze. But I liked again how they backed away down Library there and said, right, this is no longer a safe spot. We can't hold Library anymore. Everyone as 3 or 4 as a group back away, and the Clash is going to cover our back. So good team play, and meant that T1 got nothing from that.
Comms, by their very nature, Des, are something that we don't generally see, of course, but we've got a great example of how you can see it. You can witness it firsthand sometimes on that opening kill. Mag just feeding that information about the sledge into Tex, who just manages to pick up that nice entry kill for Fnatic. So 4 versus 4, down to the final minute now, and T1, again, need to think about time, need to think about the clock, because we've still got these Fnatic players entrenched in their initial positions, and that's something that needs to be dealt with. Now, out goes the utility. The frost mats haven't been dealt with, Des. It's almost as if they're not aware of them. How Farmer picks up the kill onto Crazy Boy after that frost mat has snapped shut on his leg. That leaves the diffuser down inside of sight, and PJH is going to have no option but to just go straight in. And guess what? This player's waiting for him. It's Mentalist, it's Mag, it's Stigs, it's everybody for Fnatic getting in on the action. They're hitting shots, they're finding kills, and they are winning rounds.
It's hard. It's almost like when T1, you feel, have stepped up a level. They've dealt with one of the roamers as he comes back down from Bathroom. There's still one more. It's Stigs holding out inside a kitchen, and he's the one who strikes that killing blow at the end of the round. But let's look again at how the things are set up here. You've got members of T1 looking to push in separately, vaulting through windows, push through front door, for example. Fnatic have always got 1 or 2 people that can challenge that angle at the same time, and there is just very little T1 can do. Even if they find a kill, there is a very high chance they get traded out. And this is what I was speaking about earlier on in saying Fnatic currently are just on a different level. They look absolutely phenomenal. 6-0 start. That's what you want to see of a team that really wants to be pushing top 3. And Fresh said this in the pre-desk as well. Really, this is the stage where Fnatic is saying, right, we have got our strongest players on side here. We've got Alfama, Mentalist, who was only a stand-in for last stage, was absolutely lights out, knockout last stage. We want to keep him here. He's showing it in this game. He's 12-1 after 6 rounds, by the way. They've got the squad to do it now. If they don't get top 3, top 4 this time and make the major, when will they? Will become the big question.
Well, it's, you know, as I said coming in, Des, there's only so many excuses that we can make. You know, there's only so many times that we can write it off as this element or that problem or this change. You know, ultimately, Fnatic have got to really get themselves moving, and soon. You know, this needs to be the foundation now. Like you say, they've got Alfama in. He's there. He's ready to play. He's obviously playing well today. The team as a whole is. So now they've got to double down on this. They've got to come forward from today and continue to get wins. It needs to become the habit for them so that they are really challenging into the... I mean, they're not even going to be looking for playoffs, Des. They're going to be looking for that top spot. I'm certain, looking at the way Fnatic have played. What I do like is how professional they've been about this. You can only play the teams that are in front of you. T1, a little bit of a struggle for them today, we have to say it. Not been great on the roam clearance, playing into a lot of the things that Fnatic want to do. But Fnatic, they haven't lost their focus. And it's easy to slip sometimes when you think, oh, it's 6-0, we're on an easy win here. They're not losing their focus. They're getting in there. They are completing the checklist, whether it be on defence. I think we'll see it continue now on attack. And they are doing everything that needs to be done to get the win. T1 really don't stand a chance at the minute.
And just to give you an idea for Fnatic, they're currently 95 points behind the team in 16th place in the global standings. That is TSM. A good stage here, a potential good performance at the major would be enough to get them to SI next year. And that is no doubt what they're gunning for. So I'm really keen to see them show that this stage. Of course, that's a journey that we will follow with great interest the whole way through the stage. However, let's see how Fnatic's attack fares. We are about 60 seconds in and no one has died yet. It's not a bad start. But now you're looking towards what they can do with the ground they've taken, the angles they've set up, the drone work they're doing throughout these sites, and equally on T1 side, how are they going to disrupt that when the push starts coming through? Is anyone off on the roam? Is anyone looking to be disruptive once Fnatic start getting set up for an execute? Because that works so well for Fnatic back in the first half.
This drone could prove absolutely lethal for the side of T1. It's not been picked up inside of office, and they've just got all the information that they need really about the Kaid. Now out goes the electrical, or will it be successful? Being that it's an ace charge, I would imagine it'd pick something up, but no, they managed to get both of them cleared off, and that is going to be a nice open breach for Fnatic. So they've got themselves in a position to consider getting the diffuser down. They really need to deal, thank you very much Tex for the perfect timing, they need to deal with Arakaze on the Kaid, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Ripping his head off above that shield as he sticks it up just a little bit too far. 5 versus 4, 55 seconds left to go for Fnatic. The Toxic Babe canisters are being utilised to prevent them getting in and putting the diffuser down, but there's a bit too much time to rely on just that. They're going to have to find some kills here, T1. Now, Crazy Boy looking to find himself an angle from the piano, but isn't able to at this stage. Fnatic need to just burn out that utility and then get themselves moving again.
Question is, can they destroy the shield? No, they can't. That makes this even harder. And now they've got a challenge onto Crazy Boy, who's very happy holding inside of here. But Stigs finding yet another 2 kills in the round coming through. Make it 3 as Crazy Boy falls down to the window. 5 versus 2. This one should be done, Ace.
There's absolutely nothing T1 can do about this Fnatic side. They are unstoppable at the minute, but there come a couple of big kills that leaves us now 2 versus 2. Diffuser going down once again, and successfully this time. So it is all down to the next 35 seconds. T1, it's now or never. PJH going to take a lot of damage. We've got Fancy there on very low health. You can see the little UI update showing us there. It's flashing away now. PJH, he gets shut down. It's all up to Fancy. 1 versus 2. Got to get the diffuser. 13 seconds to find these kills and disable the activated diffuser. Very unlikely at this point. He takes out the drones. He's doing everything he can, but Fnatic playing it smart, keep themselves out of it, and that is going to be it, Des. Of course, 7 seconds is needed to disable that diffuser. So once it gets past the 7-second mark, the job is done. Fnatic step out, they find that final kill, but the round and the match was already won. 7-0, and what a message that has just been sent from the Australian team.
Which one, Tim? Because last I checked, there are probably 3 or 4 in the inbox here. Don't take us to Chalet for 1. 2, we're here to win the whole thing. And 3, my God, Mentalist does not stop. That last little two play coming out for Alfama and Tex, definitely worth note. Really good